Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Brothers and sisters, Ina has assigned me to talk about Ramadan, and she tried to ask about what topic should we discuss related to Ramadan. And then we concluded that probably we can talk about learning the Holy Quran. So Ina have written the title, Ramadan is the best time to learn the Holy Quran. Let me try to discuss it, and hopefully we can take the benefits of the coming discussion. I would like to start with the fact that Allah obliges all Muslims throughout the world to fast the whole month of Ramadan in order to commemorate the revelation of Al-Quran. That indicates that Al-Quran is very important for the good life of Al-Quran. Now let us try to read the ayah that when Allah talks about Ramadan. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. The month of Ramadan is that in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So the function of Al-Quran is as guidelines, as guidance for the people, and at once as a clear proof of the guidance of Al-Quran, and also the criterion, the ability to distinguish between right and wrong, between good and bad. Then Allah says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ. So, now when we say so, that means this is the impact of that, or as consequence, as a consequence. So, whoever sights the new moon of the month of Ramadan, let him fast it. So that means that Allah tells us to fast the whole month of Ramadan because it was in the month that Al-Quran was revealed for the first time. I say revealed for the first time. Some ulama say that Ramadan was the time when the first ayat of Al-Quran were revealed, that were Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, Iqra wa rabbuka al-akramu alladhi 'allama bil qalam, and so on. But some other experts say that it was the whole Quran which was revealed during Ramadan, but not directly to Prophet Muhammad. That is the second opinion. But I prefer to take the first opinion, that Al-Quran was revealed in the first ayat of Al-Quran were revealed in Ramadan, without mentioning that the year, because at the time Arabs did not count the number of years, and therefore they mention the year just the big events that happened at the time. For example, Rasulullah SAW was born in the year of elephant, because in the same year there was a ruler in Yemen who sent troops and elephants to destroy Kaabah, because that was a big event. Then the year was called the year of elephant, Tahun Gajah, or Amal Fil. The Arabs, particularly Muslims, started to count the number of years during the time of Umar bin Khattab, when he was Khalifah. So we do not know what was the year, but we can speculate by reversing the years, because Rasulullah migrated to Medina in the 13th year of his promotion as prophet. Then that means that probably the first ayat of Al-Quran were revealed 13 years before that, before the migration. Now, and we do not talk about that too long, but my point is that we are supposed to fast the whole month of Ramadan in order to commemorate the revelation of Al-Quran and to respect the book, because the book has been designed to guide us to behave well, to behave in a good manner, so that we will be safe and happy both in this world and in the hereafter. And Allah also shows the honorability of the Quran by offering the multiplication of rewards. The multiplication of the rewards by about 60,000 times, or even more. 60,000 times, or even more, for those worshipping Allah on the anniversary night of its revelation, like what Allah said, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Indeed, we sent down Al-Quran during the night of decree. Night of decree is the translation of Laylatul Qadr. And what can make you know what is the night of decree? The night of decree is better than 1,000 months. So Allah informs us that Al-Quran was revealed in the night of decree, and Allah explains that if you worship Allah in the night, in the anniversary night of the revelation, then your rewards will be multiplied by about 60,000 times, because one night, the reward for one night is similar to the reward for worshipping for 1,000 months. While one night, if we calculate one night as 12 hours, then if we say 1,000 months, that means that 1,000 months, you can, I think you can calculate by yourself, yeah. So the result that I tried to count was similar to 60,000 times. And Allah says, better. That means that it can be more. It can be more than 60,000 times. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم. The angels and the spirit here refers to Jibril, angel Jibril. The angels, including Jibril, descend therein by permission of the Lord for every matter. Peace it is until the emergence of dawn. So we can we can imagine how big or how important Al-Quran is. And Allah also multiplies rewards for those reciting Al-Quran by at least 10 times. So if you recite Al-Quran, the reward for your recitation will be multiplied by at least 10 times. Like what Rasulullah said, Man qara'a harfan min kitabillah falahu hasanah. Whoever recites a letter, not a word, a letter from the book of Allah, he will be credited with a good deed. So every single letter is similar to one good deed. And a good deed gets a tenfold reward. Wal hasanatu bi ashri amthaliha. And every good deed gets a tenfold reward. Then Rasulullah said, I do not say La aqulu alif lam mim harfun walakin alifun harfun wa lamun harfun wa mimun harfun. I do not say that alif lam mim is one word, is one letter, but it's 3 letters because it consists of alif, lam, and mim. So when you recite alif lam mim, that is similar to 3 good deeds, and every good deeds will be rewarded by 10 times. And I am interested in the example. The Prophet gave alif lam mim as an example, while actually no one knows the meaning of alif lam mim. If someone claims that he knows the meaning of alif lam mim, for example, some people say alif lam mim is abbreviation of Allah, alif for Allah, lam for Jibril, and mim for Muhammad. No, that is baseless, because Rasulullah never explained that way. Where Rasulullah or the Prophet was assigned by Allah to explain the book, but Rasulullah himself did not explain it. So that means that we should not translate it. Just we let Allah translate it by himself. So whether you understand the meaning of the Quran that you recite or not, the reward will be multiplied by 10 times, because the example given by the Prophet was alif lam mim, something that no one knows its meaning. And Allah also praises those who learn and teach the Quran by through the explanation of the Prophet. The Prophet said that those who learn and teach Al-Quran are considered as the best among people. خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. The best among you Muslims are those who learn the Quran and teach it. So it is easy for us if we want to become the best among people. If you can teach Al-Quran, okay, you do it, teaching Al-Quran. But if you cannot teach, you learn. Whether you learn just alif lam mim, oh this is alif, then this is lam mim, then you try to spell or to pronounce Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, you have become the best among people. So it indicates that Al-Quran is very special. And also, Allah considers those implementing the guidelines in the Quran. They belong to Allah's family. The word used by Prophet Muhammad is family. Rasulullah said, Inna lillahi ahlina minan nas. Allah has His own people among mankind. People here is translation from ahl, ahlun. Ahli means family. So, actually, this is an analogy. Those Allah has some people as belonging to His family. Then some people asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, man hum? Who are they? Then the Prophet explained, Hum ahlul Quran, ahlullahi wa khassatuh. They are the people of Allah, the people of Quran, those who are close to Him. So, if we always refer to Quran whenever we want to solve our problems, when we have any problem, then we try to refer to Quran for the solution. Then we will become the family of Allah. In quotations, we will become the family of Allah. Now, if we become, or if we belong to the family of Allah, that means that we are under His protection. We will be protected, and we will be guided by Allah all the time. So let us always try to learn Al-Quran by reciting it and teaching it, and also implementing its guidelines. What does Al-Quran contain? Al-Quran contains guidelines for the life of Muslims. So it is like a manual book, or a book of guidance. If you buy a machine, for example, you will need a guidebook for the operation of the machine. If you do not read the guidebook carefully, then probably you will make mistakes, and probably you will damage the machine. Al-Quran is guidebook for our operation. While we consist of body and soul. For the body, it is easy for us to learn. If we feel hungry, okay, you can just eat, and you can choose the best food for your consumption. But for the soul, we do not see the soul, and the soul has its own character. So if we do not know the characteristics of the soul, we cannot operate our soul very well. If we cannot operate it well, then probably we make mistakes. We can damage the soul. If you damage the soul, that means that you will feel unhappy. You will feel inferior. If you will feel depressed, you will feel distrust, and so on. But if you manage your soul well, you will live happily. Now Allah says, وَهَذَا كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مُبَارَكٌ فَاتَّبِعُوهُ. And this Al-Quran is a book we have revealed, which is blessed. So follow it. So the instruction is follow it. Follow the guidelines in the book. وَاتَّقُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. And fear Allah that you may receive mercy. Then if we say that Al-Quran is a guidebook, to what direction does Al-Quran guide us? The Quran guides Muslims to the straight path. Straight path. Straight forward to the goal. When we want to live, if we want to live a good life, we should have a certain destination. We should have a goal, an objective, and the goal is the final goal, or you can say ultimate goal. Then if you have the correct ultimate goal, then you can formulate the programs that you will do for your day-to-day activities. Then any activity that you do should have the same direction to the ultimate goal. And Al-Quran contains the guidelines for setting the goal and also for the ways to do your activities. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ, in order that you receive mercy. So if we follow Al-Quran, inshallah we will receive mercy from Allah. And Al-Quran guides us to the straight path, the ways in doing day-to-day activities that lead to happy life. Allah says, قَدْ جَاءَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ نُورٌ وَكِتَابٌ مُبِينٌ. There has come to you from Allah a light and a clear book. A light. We need a light. If we want to walk, then we need a light so that we can see the way that we will trodden, the way that we will pass through. So Al-Quran is nur, light, wa kitabun mubin, and a book that explains. Kitabun mubin, a book that explains. Yahdi bihi Allahu man ittaba'a ridwanah, by which Allah guides those who pursue His pleasure to the ways of peace. Ila yahdi bihi Allahu man ittaba'a ridwanahu subula salam. Salam means peace. So we are guided by Al-Quran to peaceful life. وَيُخْرِجُهُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ, by and Al-Quran brings them out from darknesses into the light. Darkness, usually darkness is considered as uncountable noun, but in Al-Quran darkness can be pluralized. For example, when you in the middle of the sea in the night while it was raining, you have some darknesses. The darkness caused by the night, because the sun is the opposite of our earth, our surface of the earth, and the darkness of the cloud, and the darkness caused by the rain. So darkness below darkness. Then in Arabic or in the Quran, we can say darknesses. Darknesses of life. It can be darkness of the lack of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge to do something, that means that you are in the dark. And if you don't know the situation, the surrounding situation, then you are also in the darkness. So there are many darknesses, many kinds. If darkness is pluralized, that means that some kinds of darkness by His permission. And Al-Quran guides them to a straight path. وَيَهْدِيهِمْ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. And also, Al-Quran can prevent its readers from mental illnesses. Mental illnesses. What are mental illnesses? There are many. Like when you are in distress is an illness. When you are in depression is an illness. If you are doubtful, if you want to do something in doubt, doubt is also mental illness. Of course, there are some degrees of illnesses. Some illnesses are light, some are medium, and some are big or heavy. So Al-Quran can eliminate or can keep us away from illness, from mental illnesses. Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nasu qad ja'atkum maw'idhatun min rabbikum wa shifa'un lima fis sudur. O mankind, there has to come to you instruction from your Lord and healing for what is in the breast. Sorry, it is more difficult for me to read the translation. Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, qad ja'atkum maw'idhah. It has come. Maw'idhah means advices. Advices have come to you from your Lord, min rabbikum. Wa shifa'un lima sudur. And Al-Quran is also a healing. Healing for what is in our mind, in our breasts. Breast is the container. What is meant is the heart inside the breast, and it is an illustration of our emotion. وَشِفَاءٌ لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ, and healing for your heart. وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and Al-Quran also guidelines and also mercy for believers. So Al-Quran is a complete guidelines for us. Of course, if we say complete, Al-Quran does not talk in details, but generally, Al-Quran talks in general. Then we should try to explain it so that Al-Quran is always flexible for different situations. And Al-Quran also helps save its readers from the hellfire. This is something like personification, personifikasi, that in the day of resurrection, Al-Quran will defend its readers or its learners from being thrown to the hell. Rasulullah said, "Iqra'ul Quran, فَإِنَّهُ يَأْتِي يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ شَفِيعًا لِأَصْحَابِهِ." Read the Quran, for it will come as an intercessor for its reciters. Intercessor means yang memberi syafaat, something that will help for its reciters on the day of resurrection. So there are many benefits that we can take from the Quran. However, many people prefer to use their personal desires as guidelines for their activities. So we should prioritize guidelines from Allah rather than our desires. But many people don't want to think, they don't like to use their knowledge, on many people are reluctant or lazy to learn, so they just do their day-to-day activities intuitively. We should not do things just intuitively, because if we do things intuitively, that means that we will be like animals. Animals are not equipped with mind, with heart, but we are equipped with mind. So we should distinguish ourselves from animals. So many people prefer to use their personal desires as guidelines for their activities, which according to them offer pleasure. Yeah? If you have a desire, for example, and you fulfill your desire, you will get pleasure. Because pleasure is an emotion that you will earn when you grab what you want, what you have the desire for it. Allah said, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen he who has taken as his God his own desire? No. The term is God. So someone who always follows his desire, that means that he has set his desire as God, because God is something or a party that we should follow, we should be obedient to. If someone is obedient to desires, that means that he is the slave of their own desires. It is true that when you get something that you have, that you want, then you will feel pleased. And many people consider that pleasure is happiness. No, happiness is not pleasure. Happiness is more than pleasure. Rather than pleasure, the short term for happiness is tranquility, a calm feeling in the heart. Do you know? Someone who has set his own desire as his God? وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ. And Allah lets him go astray. Ala ilmin, even though he has knowledge. If you follow your desires, even though you have knowledge, if your knowledge is contradictory to your desire, you will prefer to follow your desire rather than your knowledge. For example, people generally know that killing someone else is bad. But if someone has the desire to take the wealth of a person, probably he is ready to kill the person in order to take the wealth. Yeah? Just like robber. Yeah? A robber kills people in order to take the wealth that he wants. So that means that the robber follows his desire, even though he knows that killing someone else is bad, is contradictory to the law. وَخَتَمَ عَلَى سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ. And if someone follows his desires, he will be like someone who does not hear, does not see. وَخَتَمَ عَلَى سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ. Allah set a seal upon his hearing and his heart. That means that even though you give advices to such a person, your advices will be useless, because they just follow their desires. Desires for whatever, desires for wealth, desires for power, political power. Many people who hold the political power don't want their power to be taken by someone else. So if we see, for example, if they see that there is someone who opposes them, then they probably imprison him or even kill him. And he, such a person who sets his desires as God, have eyes, they can see, but the sight, the capability to see is useless, because he does not learn or does not get any lessons from what he sees. And if someone is like that, فَمَن يَهْدِيهِ مِن بَعْدِ اللَّهِ, Who can guide him other than Allah? أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Will you not be reminded? Yeah? So we should not follow our desires without referring to guidelines from Allah. Are we allowed to follow our desires? Okay, but when we have desires, we should always refer to guidelines from Allah. For example, when we are hungry, we have a desire to eat. If we want to eat, we should refer to guidelines from Allah. For example, Allah says in Al Quran, "Kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum." Eat what is good for you and what is halal for you. So if there is some food but it is not halal, don't eat it. For example, Al-Quran says, don't eat pork. Then if you see some food contains pork, contains pork, then you should not eat it. And also, even though you eat something halal, you buy with money that you earn in a halal way, and the food does not contain anything haram, and you should always refer to the guidelines of Allah. Allah says, وَكُلُّوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Please, you eat and drink, but don't be excessive. Don't eat excessively. Yeah. So when we have a desire to eat, we use Al-Quran as guidelines. Okay, I will eat something, then we refer to the guidelines. Okay, let me go ahead. Rasulullah repeated the recitation of the Quran with Jibril every year in Ramadan. So from time to time, Rasulullah get revelation from Allah, frequently through Jibril, but sometimes Rasulullah revealed revelation directly from Allah without the mediation of Jibril. And every year in Ramadan, Rasulullah and Jibril check what Rasulullah had memorized Al-Quran, to check the recitation, the way to recite, and also to check the what do you call it, the urut-urutan, sorry, what do you say for urut-urutan, one after another.
Order ya, Pak?
Yes, thank you very much. The order of the ayat, and also some ayat were replaced with other ayat. So every year, Prophet Muhammad recheck Al-Quran together with Jibril in Ramadan. But in the last year of his life, in the last year of the Prophet's life, he checked Al-Quran with Jibril twice in Ramadan. The lesson for us is that we should intensify our learning of Al-Quran in Ramadan. There is a hadith, Abu Hurairah said, "Kana ya'ridu 'ala an-nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam al-Qur'ana kull 'amin marrah." Jibril used to repeat the recitation of the Quran with the Prophet once a year, but he repeated it twice with him in the year he died. The Prophet used to stay in i'tikaf for 10 days every year in the month of Ramadan. But in the year of his death, he stayed in i'tikaf for 20 days. So Ramadan is a good time for us to intensify our learning of Al-Quran, our recitation of Al-Quran. Now that Allah offers multiplication of rewards during Ramadan, while the social situations are usually conducive for worshipping activities, let us intensify our learning of the Quran, learning to recite it, learning to understand the meaning of its ayat, and learning on how to implement its teachings. Or at least we intensify our listening to its ayat when they are recited by our brothers or sisters. Ramadan is the best time to learn the Holy Quran. May Allah bless us. May Allah bless us. Allah says, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَرْحَمُونَ. So when the Quran is recited, then listen to it and pay attention that you may receive mercy. That's it. Let us review what we have discussed. Muslims fast in Ramadan to commemorate the revelation of the Quran. Showing the honorability of the Quran, Allah multiplies rewards during Ramadan. Quran learners and teachers are best among people. People of the Quran are special and close to Allah. The Quran guides people to peaceful life and protect them from hell. And the last, the Prophet and Jibril reject the Quran every Ramadan. May Allah facilitate us in trying to learn the Quran and to implement its teachings in our day-to-day life. Amen.